Hello ladies and gentlemen, Keaton here and welcome to Nuclear Throne update number 35. Now for those of you who do not know, this is the one time a week where we here at Tengu Drop take a look at the latest Nuclear Throne update, grab that change log, put it into video format for your viewing pleasure, and show you as much as possible. With that said, before we head into update number 35, let's take a quick look back at what happened in update number 34. Update number 34 introduces us to the brand new character Horror. The adorable green blob's abilities include choosing from a 5th mutation when leveling up, and a crazy radiation beam that can be fired as long as the player has rats to spare. Also introduced in update number 34 were the pop rifle and a brand new crown called the Crown of Choice. The generation for Big Dog's level was tweaked, and subsequently tweaked again in a hotfix due to being too difficult, and as always there were a number of fixes and changes to the game. If you would like a more in-depth look at the new character, weapons, and everything else that was introduced or changed in update number 34, be sure to check out last week's video. There you can also find a link to the full changelog. Now with that lengthy recap done, let's move on to update number 35. With 2 large weekly updates back to back, Vlambeer have decided to give us a bit of a breathing room with a smaller update this week. So rest safe knowing your biggest obstacles this week are still mastering Horror and the Throne. First up in new content this week is the addition of the Toxic Launcher. Imagine, if you will, a sticky grenade launcher with the properties of a toxic bow. That best describes the Toxic Launcher in a nutshell. The Toxic Launcher fires sticky grenades that, when detonated, emit a cloud of poisonous gas. Much like the Toxic Bow, this dangerously gassy weapon will give the enemy a good 1-2 punch and will probably be more useful in smaller, more cramped areas or around a large number of enemies. But as always, exercise caution as you will take damage if you inhale any of that nasty gas. Now the second most notable addition made this week is the progression map that shows up when players die. Yes, Vlambeer have decided to go that extra mile and show players just how well or terrible they do in any given run. The changelog notes that this is still very much a work in progress and that players should expect the final version to look much different. Now that wraps up new content this week. However, this week's changes are still pretty significant and noteworthy, so let's check them out. 2 weeks in and the Throne continues to see improvements, this week's focus being on its look. Players who are fortunate enough to make it to the Throne will now be greeted by a new and improved Throne, sporting a much more finished version of the aggressive state. The new updated Throne art includes a lot more battle scars, grime, and far more menacingly cold spider-like legs. It should be noted that though the art has been updated, it, as well as the rest of the Throne experience as a whole, are not 100% completed. Expect more tender loving care to be put into the Throne in the coming future. Big radiation canisters now have more health. Hopefully this will aid any unfortunate players out there who have been having difficulty unlocking Horror. Spoilers. Speaking of Horror, the adorable green blob has been given Fish's sound effects temporarily in hopes it'll help with certain audio cues that players have gotten used to by now. Vlambeer notes that Horror will eventually get its own sound effects sometime in the future. And finally, if you're a fan of golden weapons, good news! They're now 40% shinier, as if you needed any other reason to rock the bling. Now there are a few references to a redacted entity. Could Dive Kick be invading Nuclear Throne? No one knows. Vlambeer are once again bringing the secrets, so if you would like to read the notes on Redacted, be sure to check out the full changelog, which is linked in the description below. Finally, let's look at what's been going on in the community this week. Steam user Solid presented the Stupid Challenge last week, that's stupid with 2 O's, and Challenge Veteran Wizard answered with the winning entry. This week Solid presents the community with the Classic RPG Challenge. In a nutshell, players must get as far as possible using fish and a limited mutation pool. For more details including a list of specific mutations allowed, be sure to check out the community link dump for a link to the challenge itself. And as always, if you would like to get ahead of the curve and learn how to play by the numbers, there's always the Nuclear Throne wiki for all your damage data and character specific needs. Now the Nuclear Throne community is no stranger to fan art, and this week is no exception. As expected, there's a lot of horror fan art being made, including an adorable horror animation shared by Steam user Max with 2 X's. But if you're sick of the green blob, don't worry, Steam user Imps also provided some slick artwork this week of the rest of the Nuclear Throne cast. And that about wraps it up for the Nuclear Throne update this week. If you're a fan of toxic gas, Vlambeer has answered your call, and if you're hunting for the throne, Vlambeer has given you a prettier throne to take down. We've got a lot more to look forward to in the future, including a more robust game over screen, and Eunice Turner is about to make your ears melt with new sound effects for horror sometime down the road. While this update doesn't serve as impactful as the last 2 weeks, it's still a very noteworthy step forward for Vlambeer and the development of Nuclear Throne. If you haven't purchased Nuclear Throne and you'd like to learn more about it, be sure to check out nuclearthrone.com. You can also subscribe to Vlambeer's Twitch channel, where they live stream development of this game every Tuesday and Thursday. Subscribing gives you access to Nuclear Throne emoticons used on twitch.tv, as well as a Steam copy of the game. And of course, we here at Tengu Drop do our best to cover the latest Nuclear Throne update every weekend, and we also do Nuclear Throne playthroughs every Thursday. So be sure to check back often, or just subscribe to the channel. Anyway, that will do it for this week's look at Nuclear Throne update number 35. As always, I'm interested to hear your opinions on the latest additions and changes made to the game, so be sure to leave them in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, hope it was informative, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!